All right, welcome back to the channel, man. We got the return of Adrien Broner coming up in January, according to Steven Espinoza of Showtime. And cross my fingers, I think it's going to be Regis Prograis, which makes it a spectacular event that I am super amped up about. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So, Adrien Broner, who is just a man of a million different types of drama, rap star, arrestee, boxing champ, the only guy that can continue to stay relevant in boxing with all of that baggage and all of that drama because he is a showman, he's entertaining, people want to see him fight, people get excited about his fights, and I am just one of those people, man. I mess with Adrien Broner. All right. So I heard on Boxing Insider, I do believe is the website that I saw the article written, where Steven Espinoza, who is the head of sports at Showtime, said that Adrien Broner will be returning in January, provided his rap career is over. Like, I think he was just joking about the rap career part, but he said, and he will be back in January of 2021 against a reputable opponent. So it's not going to be somebody that is a pushover for Adrien Broner, although I really think he deserves that. I mean, come on, man. You can't get, I'm taking a shot at Terrence Crawford. You can't get Terrence Crawford to fight nobody. But Adrien Broner, god dog, they throw him in there with anybody that is a problem. So the problem Broner, the guy that I think this could be is Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis. Now, the reason why I think it is a couple-fold. One, he just signed to the PBC. He was with DAZN, and so when DAZN started, their money started going a little bit south, and they said that they need to get people with butts in the seats, only going to pay money to the people that get butts in the seats. That was going to put guys like Demetrius Andrade on, in a little bit of problem. It was going to put Regis Prograis in some trouble, and it was going to put like Maurice Hooker in trouble, Tevin Farmer in trouble. The American fighters that they don't know how to sell, right? The guys that for some reason, like you can go and sell out and look really good, have a big crowd in the hometown of Demetrius Andrade when he fought. I think it was Selecki he fought, but then never go back there, right? Tevin Farmer, I don't know if Tevin Farmer ever fought in Philadelphia, but this just not really, those guys aren't really going to sell. Those aren't the real big guys that DAZN signed because they really wanted many of the PBC fighters. They also were doing stupid things like having Regis Prograis fighting Lafayette instead of having him fight in New Orleans, where there would be more people that could actually come to the fight. Like, this did some really crazy stuff with those guys. But anyway, Regis Prograis is up out of there. He goes to Showtime, and so does Maurice Hooker. Originally, I was like, man, does that mean that Maurice Hooker and Regis Prograis is going to fight? But I don't think so. I just believe that Maurice Hooker is going to probably wind up being up there at 147 pounds because he says he can't make the 140 pound anymore. So if there's going to be a reputable PBC 140 pounder for him to fight, I think Regis Prograis is about the best bet because they were trying to make that fight. If you guys recall, before Regis Prograis was fighting, actually fought, I think it was before he fought, what's the guy's name out of the former lightweight champion out of the UK. God, I can't remember his name, but he was like the WBO lightweight champion. He went up to 140 pounds and he lost to, and Regis Prograis beat him. And then Regis Prograis, then after that, Regis Prograis beat, I think it was Kylie Relic that he beat, but it was in the World Boxing Super Series. And then eventually he goes up and he fights Josh Taylor. But before that happened, there was a lot of issues about the World Boxing Super Series and whether or not, what is the name of their promoters? Sauerland, whether Sauerland and the different people who are partnered in the World Boxing Series were going to be able to come up with the money to pay the guys, right? So DeBella, who has since let Regis Prograis go, was a promoter with Regis Prograis at the time. And, they were saying, oh man, maybe we're not doing this. We might need to pull out. But then DAZN came in and picked up the World Series of Boxing, or World Boxing Super Series, and covered it. So therefore, Regis Prograis got back into the tournament and he fought Josh Taylor and all that stuff happened. But if he had not, it looked like he was planning to go over to fight Adrien Broner with Showtime. So now that they're both with PBC, it seems like that would be, the most realistic fight for those two of those guys to make. And I think it'll be a really good thing, man. For Adrien Broner, I hope, for Regis Prograis, I think this is a great opportunity, because if Regis Prograis can get that fight, and that fight is at 140 pounds, that's going to give Regis, because I would predict Regis Prograis to win that fight for several reasons. One is that he is just, he's very, very active. He's very aggressive. He's a lot more fresh. He's been fighting a lot more recently. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think it's something where it's a fight that Adrien Broner can't win, because Adrien Broner is, he's the type of guy that is going to have a good close fight with anybody that he fights. He's somebody that he's defensively responsible. He does have a nice jab, but I just think that, Regis Prograis eventually is going to, Regis Prograis is going to wind up, beating him. I don't see him stopping him, but I think it's just be a great win for Regis Prograis. It puts if Regis Prograis is able to beat Adrien Broner, that puts him back in the running for the other guys at 140 pounds that hold those belts, which is the Josh Taylor rematch or a fight with Jose Ramirez. But seeing as he is with the PBC and he's not with Top Rank, the likelihood of that stuff coming to fruition is going to be tough. So what that's going to mean for Regis Prograis and Adrien Broner is that, they might very well have to fight a lot of the guys who are coming up out of 140 pounds, and maybe some of the guys who are coming up out of 135 pounds, right? Who are very, very solid fighters. Like eventually, I know Chris Colbert is with the PBC, and he's one of the best lightweights in the world, but he doesn't really get a lot of the attention that the other lightweights like Vasily Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, that those guys get. But he's somebody that eventually should be able to get up to 140 pounds. He's a PBC fighter. That's a good fight that could be made for Regis Prograis. Also, you have Devin Haney, who is a type of a Mayweather fighter, who, if he does not stay with DAZN, and I'm not fully on board, with saying that the DAZN is going to go out of business, because I don't really know if they are going to. I think that they're going to keep some sort of presence here for several years. They'll continue to make fights. They'll continue to make that app, available to people in the United States. But seeing as it's just not really doing tremendously well. It hasn't opened the eyes of the boxing public in the United States. I just think over the next couple years, dude, that they're probably going to wind up phasing that out. I don't know what happened in the Devin Haney, Gary Russell Jr. Negotiations, but it really didn't seem like DAZN was interested in. I mean, they may have been interested in the fight, but they weren't. I don't think that they were interested in that fight for any date other than the one that they already had set for Devin Haney. So the fact that they weren't willing to shift the date up or see if they could work on a different date to make the Gary Russell Jr. fight, I just don't know necessarily how much love they've got for Devin Haney. So if Devin Haney winds up going to 140 pounds and he's able to, if he's dealing with the PBC or whatever, then those are more fighters for him to be able to fight. And actually, like the Adrien Broner, the Regis Prograis, the Chris Colbert, those are the type of fights that I think, that Devin Haney might be able to get to build himself up to really be considered, one of the top fighters as he enters into the 147-pound division. But, all of this stuff going on with the PBC, that's moving, it's changing, the pandemic and all of that stuff, comes into play with when these fights are going to be made and who can fight who. But I'm extremely excited for the potential of an Adrien Broner versus Regis Prograis fight. if Adrien Broner was able to beat Regis Prograis, that would completely revitalize his career. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who are just waiting to forgive Adrien Broner for the last several years of lackluster performances. But those guys, the people that are waiting to forgive him, are also the same people that recognize the high level of competition that this guy fights on a regular basis, which is not the case with a lot of people. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that, I'm out. Peace.